Hello everyone, this is the Tubular Quad version 6, which is a custom drone frame that I have designed and built from scratch. And as you can see, it's a bit in pieces right now, no props, no top, and that is because the design of the frame has damaged one of the boards. So I'll explain what that means later in the video. But in this video, we're gonna try to salvage that damaged board. And disclaimer, we're gonna be doing this the wrong way. So I apologize in advance to any of the Electron enthusiasts out there. You may just wanna leave this video right now. But for the rest of you, let's see what exactly happened and see if we can fix this and save me 50 bucks so I don't have to buy another board. All right, here's the Tubular Quad V6, and one of its design features is that it has 5 standoffs, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear, and then this 5th one that is in front of the stack. I used to have only 4 standoffs on the version 4, and I went up to 5 standoffs on the version 5 because I was having strength issues with the bottom plate. Now what happened is I had a very fast collision, and basically I only hit the top plate, and that bent all the standoffs very far backwards, enough for this 5th standoff to hit the flight controller and blast this connector off of the board. So this connector used to be there, and now it is not. And that means that this standoff moved about 7.5 millimeters backwards, which is quite far. So I do have an idea on how to prevent this from happening on the next version of the Tubular Quad, but for the time being, what we're gonna try to do is steal a not smashed connector from a board that does not work and put it on this board that does work, and I'm pretty confident that this board still does work because we get lights and it does connect to Betaflight and everything. So let's see if we can pull that off. All right, so we have our fried donor flight controller here with the connector we want, and I've plugged in this wire so that this connector is occupied, so that hopefully when I go at this with the heat gun, this connector keeps its shape and we can still use it. All right, don't seem to be melting the solder, so let's try more heat. All right, so as you can see, there is no longer a connector on this board, so we have succeeded, except we melted part of the connector. I got a little bit greedy at one point and turned the temperature up too far, but I still wanted to try to get it off, which I did succeed at. So I'm gonna try this again with the temperature that did not melt the connector, because look at this, I have another fried flight controller in the stash. All right, so here we are. There's no connector on the flight controller. It is right here, and I did not fully succeed in not melting it, but I can still plug a connector into it. So I think we're just gonna roll with it and try to put this on the working flight controller. The connector is soldered on, and I also put a new connector on these wires because this connector was smashed. As you can see, it does plug in, and this connector is still semi-mangled, but it hopefully will work. So let's find out. We have flight controller lights, that's a good sign. Uh-oh. Should be getting 2 more beeps. Let me grab the goggles. It says we're pulling 70 amps. That's not right, but the voltage is fine, so that's definitely wrong. I cannot arm. You can see the light for the receiver's on, so something's not right here. All right, so I went back over all of the solder joints, and now if I plug it in, you get all of the beeps, but I still can't get it to arm. And if I look in the goggles, when I arm, it says RPM filter as one of the warnings. So it looks like a lot of connections were not being made before, and now I'm probably missing 1 or 2 connections still with my bad soldering. So let me try again, and maybe next time I'll get it to spin the motors. Okay, 3rd time's the charm. If I plug in, now we get all the beeps, and it arms. And if I look in the goggles, I get an accurate current reading and an accurate voltage reading. So it looks like we have succeeded. All right, the tubular quad is back in one piece, ready to get back in the air where it belongs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would say I hope you learned something from the video, but I think everything in this video is something you shouldn't do, not what you should do, so not quite instructional content. But I think one takeaway from what I've done is just maybe try something new, push yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit, especially when it doesn't really cost you anything. So in this case, my flight controller was already broken, so I wasn't really gonna break it any more than it already was. So it was just worth it to me to try and fix it and see what I could do. And at the end of the day, even though the repair was definitely not done correctly, it did work, and I did save myself a couple bucks. So take that for what you will, and thanks for watching.